The ghost in the hallways, Tammy Slaton's unseen past meets her transformed present. The internet, that vast and often unforgiving digital scrapbook, had unearthed a relic. Not gold or pottery, but faded pixels holding a ghost. Tammy Slaton, a name now synonymous with extraordinary transformation, resilience, and the raw, televised struggle against morbid obesity on TLC's 1000 LB Sisters, stared back from a screen, but it wasn't the Tammy the world knew in 2025. This was Bentley High School, late 2000s. Tammy Marie Slaton, age 16. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The photos surfaced quietly at first, shared on a niche nostalgia forum dedicated to Kentucky high school yearbooks. Someone, perhaps a former classmate cleaning out a digital attic, had scanned a page. The caption was simple, "Tammy Slaton? Before the show?" Then, like wildfire fanned by the constant winds of online fascination, they spread. Unseen high school photos of Tammy Slaton resurface after dramatic skin removal, screamed the headlines. The contrast was seismic, the narrative irresistible, the girl buried beneath the weight, now emerging, literally and figuratively, decades later. The ghost, Tammy, circa 2008. The photos were grainy, the color slightly washed, the fashion unmistakably mid to late 2000s. There she was. Not the Tammy confined to a motorized scooter, dependent on oxygen, her world shrinking to the dimensions of a doorway. This Tammy stood, albeit with a posture hinting at the burden she already carried. She wasn't yet the 700-pound woman viewers first met, but the genetic predisposition, the early struggles with food as comfort, the teasing, the isolation, they were etched in the tentative smile, the eyes that seemed to look slightly past the camera lens, seeking an escape hatch. In one photo, she was part of a larger group shot for a club, perhaps the yearbook staff or the library helpers. She stood near the edge, partially obscured by a taller classmate. Her clothes were clearly chosen for maximum coverage and minimal attention, a dark, oversized hoodie swallowing her frame, jeans straining at the seams. Her hands were clasped nervously in front of her. She looked like she was holding her breath, willing herself invisible in plain sight. Another photo was a candid moment near lockers. She was talking to another girl, her expression animated, perhaps even laughing. For a split second, captured unknowingly, the weight seemed lighter. Here was a glimpse of the Tammy her family knew, the quick wit, the infectious, throaty laugh that would later charm millions, the spark of personality that even hundreds of pounds couldn't completely extinguish. Yet, even in this moment of levity, the physical reality was undeniable. The strain on her knees, the way her backpack cut into her shoulders, the sheer space she occupied, it spoke of a daily endurance test the other teenagers around her couldn't fathom. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The most poignant image was a post-solo shot, likely for the yearbook itself. Against a generic blue backdrop, Tammy faced the camera directly. Her hair was carefully styled, perhaps for picture day. She wore a bright pink top, a brave choice against the sea of dark clothes often chosen for camouflage. But the smile didn't quite reach her eyes. There was a profound vulnerability, a self-consciousness radiating from the frozen image. You could almost hear the internal monologue, "Are they laughing? Does this look okay? Can I just get this over with?" This wasn't just teenage awkwardness, this was the acute awareness of being fundamentally different, of navigating a world built for bodies unlike hers. The hallways of Bentley High, with their narrow rows of lockers and desks bolted close together, were an obstacle course. Gym class was likely a special kind of hell. The cafeteria, a minefield of judgment and temptation. The weight of the unseen years. These photos weren't just pictures. They were portals to the formative crucible where Tammy's relationship with her body, food, and the world solidified. The teasing, Tonka truck, moo, Amy had spoken about on the show wasn't abstract cruelty, it had a face, echoed in the smirks of classmates captured just out of frame in some of the wider shots. The feeling of being an outsider, of never quite fitting the mold of a normal high school experience, the dances she might not have attended for fear of not finding a dress or a partner, the sports events watched from the sidelines, the quiet loneliness amidst the roaring social current, was palpable. Food wasn't just sustenance, it was solace, reward, rebellion, and ultimately, her prison. The cafeteria pizza, the vending machine snacks consumed in hidden corners, the large portions at home that felt like love but carried the weight of future consequences, these were the coping mechanisms developing in real time, visible in the gradual changes these yearbook photos likely charted over her high school years. The Tammy in the earlier photos looked marginally smaller, less burdened than the Tammy in the later ones. The trajectory was already set. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The transformation, emergence from the cocoon. Fast forward to 2025. Tammy Slaton is almost unrecognizable from those high school ghosts. Following her life-saving bariatric surgery, a grueling battle against addiction, food and other substances, near-death experiences, and monumental personal growth documented relentlessly on television, Tammy achieved the impossible. She shed hundreds of pounds, graduated from rehab, found love, got married, and reclaimed her mobility and independence. The final, crucial step in her physical metamorphosis was the extensive skin removal surgery, the literal shedding of the physical remnants of her former self, the cocoon that had both contained and constrained her. The after pictures, shared triumphantly by Tammy herself on social media, were breathtaking. Gone was the suffocating folds of skin that hung like heavy curtains, causing pain, rashes, and constant physical discomfort. In their place was a radically reshaped silhouette. She stood taller, prouder. She wore clothes chosen for style, not just necessity, form-fitting dresses, jeans that didn't require engineering to put on, swimsuits by a pool. Her face, no longer obscured by layers of flesh, revealed defined cheekbones and a bright, confident smile that did reach her eyes. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was a seismic shift in presence. The woman who emerged radiated a hard-won confidence, a sense of ownership over her body and her life that the teenage girl in the yearbook photos could never have imagined. The collision, past meets present. The resurfacing of the high school photos created a powerful, almost jarring, juxtaposition. It wasn't just a before and after weight loss ad. It was a confrontation between two distinct Tammy Slatons separated by nearly 2 decades, profound trauma, incredible resilience, and literal tons of shed weight and skin. For the public, the reaction was a mix of awe, sympathy, and morbid curiosity. Comments flooded social media. OMG. I can see her smile is the same. But she looks so young and lost? This breaks my heart. You can see the pain in her eyes even then. The difference is unreal. She's literally a whole new person. Respect. To come from that to where she is now, unmatched strength. Wow, she was always beautiful, just buried. Now she shines. For Tammy, seeing those photos likely triggered a complex tsunami of emotions. Imagine scrolling through your feed and confronting a ghost of your most vulnerable, painful self, a self largely hidden from the world until now, at the precise moment of your greatest physical triumph. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. 1. Recognition and grief. There would be instant recognition, a visceral pull back to those hallways, those feelings of isolation and shame. It might bring a pang of grief for the normal teenage experiences she missed, for the relentless bullying, for the young girl who felt unseen and unlovable in that body. The photos were proof of a deep, long-standing pain. 2. Disconnect and surrealism. Looking at that girl would also feel incredibly surreal. The Tammy of 2025, having fought so hard to escape that physical reality and the mental prison that accompanied it, might feel a profound disconnect. Was that really me? The sheer magnitude of the change could make the past feel like someone else's life story. 3. Empathy and compassion. With her hard-won perspective, present-day Tammy might look at her younger self with overwhelming empathy. She understands now the complex web of genetics, family dynamics, emotional trauma. She might wish she could go back and tell her, it gets better. You are stronger than you know. You will get out. 4. Pride and triumph. Ultimately, the dominant emotion would likely be fierce, unadulterated pride. Those photos are the ultimate before picture. They represent the deepest valley from which she climbed. Seeing them juxtaposed with her current reality is undeniable proof of her Herculean effort. Look how far I've come. Look what I survived. Look what I achieved. The girl who felt powerless is now the woman who defied every medical and societal expectation. The skin removal wasn't just cosmetic, it was the final shedding of the physical manifestation of that powerless past. 5. Reclaiming the narrative. Crucially, the photos resurfaced after her skin removal. This timing is significant. Tammy wasn't presented with her painful past in the midst of her struggle, she was shown it from the summit of her transformation. This allowed her to reclaim that narrative. She wasn't defined by those photos anymore, they became a stark illustration of her journey's starting point, a testament to her victory. She could look at her teenage self not with shame, but with the compassion of a survivor acknowledging the battles fought by their younger self. Beyond the physical, the unseen weight. The makeover referenced in the clickbait headlines focuses on the skin removal, the dramatic visual change. But Tammy's journey underscores that the most significant weight she carried, and the most challenging to lose, was never purely physical. The high school photos capture the unseen weights. The weight of stigma, the crushing burden of societal judgment, fat phobia, and the constant awareness of being perceived as less than. The weight of shame, internalized hatred for her body, feelings of worthlessness amplified by bullying and isolation. The weight of trauma, the emotional scars from a difficult childhood, loss, and using food as a maladaptive coping mechanism. The weight of hopelessness, the feeling, especially potent in adolescence, that this was her immutable reality, that escape was impossible. The skin removal surgery addressed the physical aftermath of obesity. But Tammy's true transformation, the one that allowed her to utilize the surgery's potential, happened internally, long before the operating table. It was the grueling work in therapy, the commitment to rehab, the mending of fractured family relationships, especially with Amy, the development of self-worth independent of her size, and the courageous decision to be vulnerable on national television. Shedding the physical skin was symbolic of shedding those heavier, invisible burdens. The confident woman in the after pictures isn't just lighter, she's freer from the chains of self-loathing and despair that bound the girl in the high school photos. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The Enduring Spark. Looking closely at both sets of images, the hesitant teenager and the radiant woman, one element bridges the gap, the eyes. Beneath the teenage vulnerability and the present-day confidence, there's a consistent spark. It's a flicker of wit, a hint of defiance, a core of resilience that even 700 pounds and societal condemnation couldn't extinguish. It's the spark her family saw, the spark that eventually ignited the fire of her determination. The high school photos prove that Tammy Slaton wasn't born on reality TV. She was a complex, hurting, hopeful young woman fighting battles long before the cameras arrived. Her journey wasn't just about losing weight, it was about excavating that buried spark and fanning it into a flame strong enough to light her way out of the darkness. The resurfaced photos aren't merely a sensational before and after. They are a poignant reminder that transformation is layered. They show the deep roots of struggle and the extraordinary height of triumph. They force us to see the whole person, not just the 1000 LB sister or the weight loss success story, but Tammy Marie Slaton, the bullied teenager who felt unseen, the woman who fought like hell to be seen on her own terms, and the survivor who finally stands tall, her past no longer a shackle but a testament to her unimaginable strength. The ghost in the hallway hasn't been erased, she's been integrated, acknowledged, and ultimately, transcended. The unseen photos finally let the world see the depth of the journey, making Tammy Slaton's hard-won present shine all the brighter. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.